Hey, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to build your own data scraper to pull contact info from a list of websites. It's going to be built entirely no code in make.com. And this is great if you're trying to do cold outreach and you want to get contact info like emails, phone numbers, and social links from a list of businesses that you're trying to reach out to. My name's John from Neuromont, and I build no-code data scraping systems. If you have any questions about building your own systems, you can contact me at john@neuromont.com. All right, let's get into it. All right, so the first thing you're going to need is you're going to actually need a list of websites that you want to scrape the contact info from. And I have this set up here in an Airtable. And if you don't know what Airtable is, you can just think of it as a Google Sheets or Excel, but it works really well for automations. I have a list of these companies. These are all accounting companies, and I have their name and their website. And then I have some other fields that we're going to fill out once we scrape them. So I have email 1, email 2, email 3, and we could do more than that, but I just stopped it at 3 emails. And then their Instagram, Facebook, and then phone 1 and phone 2. And so this is how I've set it up. You can create a new field by just clicking the plus icon and then choosing the type that you want to put in there. So you have a type of data, and then you can give it a name. And I'm going to show you 2 ways to actually do this. The first is we're just going to pull this list and we're going to scrape each one. The second, I'm going to create a sort of a SaaS tool where you're going to be able to upload a CSV file, and then it's going to scrape that CSV file and it'll add all the data into Airtable as well. So let's go into Make, and let me show you the scenario where we're going to scrape each one of these websites and get back the contact info. So this is the scenario. It's incredibly simple. It's only 3 modules. If you've never used Make before, each one of these modules are these circle things right here, and they're different softwares that are communicating with each other. So the first one we have is Airtable, and you can create a module by clicking the plus sign and then searching for the software that you want to use. And I've already got Airtable there, but you can search for Airtable. And then you'll need to connect your account. And so you'll do that by clicking add, and then it'll prompt you to sign in and connect those 2 accounts using the Airtable module in Make. And you'll need to have an Airtable account, and you'll need to be signed into it in the same browser. And so what I'm doing here is I'm using the search records Airtable module. And so we're pulling all those records that you just saw, and then we're sending each one of those modules to this next module, which is going to be Rapid API. And so this is an API that I've gotten from Rapid API that actually scrapes the websites and returns the contact info. So this is doing the actual scraping. And then we're going to update each one of those records in Airtable. And then sometimes a website can't be scraped for whatever reason, whether they have blocks in place to prevent scraping. So we'll add an error handler right here, which I can show you how to do that. You just click Add Error Handler, and then I chose Resume. And then we're going to filter out anything that's not a status code of 200, I mean. So a status code of 200 is a successful response. And so I'm going to show you how to set up this module in Rapid API. But let me just run this real quick and then show you what happens. All right, and once that's done running, you'll see that these little icons appear here. And so what I've done is I pulled all those records we have in Airtable, and these are all those records. And we've sent them to Rapid API. So we've sent the domain over to Rapid API, and then it scrapes those records, and then we get back some data. So we get back emails, any emails that are there, any phone numbers, and then if they have an Instagram and Facebook as well. And then we've taken that data and we've updated it in Airtable. So let me show you what Airtable looks like now. And so this is what we got back. So we get back almost all of them had at least 1 email. These didn't. Some websites don't have an email. And if they don't, then we unfortunately can't scrape it, because what we're doing is we're scraping their actual website for this information. And then we got their Instagram. It looks like only 3 had an Instagram, and then a number had Facebook. And then we got their phone numbers as well. So what we've done is we've pulled the records, we've scraped them, then we've updated them in Airtable. So let me show you how to set up this Rapid API request. So this is the API we're going to be using. If you've never used Rapid API, it's an awesome marketplace for different APIs to do different things. This one scrapes websites. And so you'll have to create an account on Rapid API and then subscribe to this API. And then it has a free plan, so you can get started and do all this for free. And then if you want to scale up, you can get a paid plan. I'll have a link to all this in the description below. But basically, we're going to use the scrape website endpoint, and you're going to copy this request over here. So this is a post request, and we're going to use the HTTP module in Make. And so I've copied the URL. So you're going to want to copy that URL, and then you're going to want to put that in the URL input there. And what we're using here is we're using a make request HTTP module. And so you can search for that HTTP, make a request. And this is the module that we're going to be using. And so we just need to fill it out with the information provided to us by Rapid API. And so we put the URL in there, and then it tells us the method is a post. So we need to change the method to post. And then it tells us we need to send two different headers, which is the XRapid API host header. And you can add a header by clicking add a header and then put the name in there and then the value. And they give those values to us in Rapid API, which you can find here. And so it also tells us to send the content type application JSON, but in Make, we don't need to do that because Make always sends that with every request in the HTTP module. So we can just copy these. And so this is the name of the header right here. And then after the colon is the value. So then we'll copy that and put that in the value of the header. And then your API key after you've created an account is also going to be here as well. And if you haven't created an account, you won't see an API key, but you'll need to create an account to get that. And then you need to subscribe to this API as well to be able to use it. And then it tells us the body we're sending, this right here, everything in the curly brackets is going to be the domain that we want to scrape. So it's these curly brackets and then quotations domain, and then quotations our domain that we actually want to scrape. So I've already added that in here, and instead of using that static domain that we have listed, we're going to use this dynamic data variable, which we get from Airtable when we pull those list of records. So if I just delete that, I'll go into the search records and find that website that we just pulled. And so I know it's the website because that's the name of the field in Airtable that we're returning. We also want to make sure that the parse response is yes. If it's not, we're going to get back some data that's not neatly organized to be able to use in the next module. Then we click save and we'll map all of that to update record inside Airtable. And so I'm using the update record option with Airtable, as you can see right here. And then I'm putting in the record ID that we get from the first module, which we're searching for those records. And then we're going to put in the different fields. So we don't need to do the name or website because we already have that, but we're updating this record. We want to put in email one. And so it comes back as an array. An array is a list of items. And for email one, I want to use the first item. So I'm using the get function built into make.com. And so what I'm saying here is get this array, so data emails array, and you know it's an array because of those square brackets. And then we're using one to say we want to return the first item. Same thing for email 2 and then email 3. And then Instagram, some of them don't have it. So that's why this isn't filled out right now because the last one that we scraped didn't have it. Normally you'll want to use the example that they gave because it has all that data. And then you'll be able to fill that in by going to social links and Instagram will appear right here. And then with Facebook as well. So we'll go into social links and then we'll input that piece of data. And then we have phone one, same as the emails, phone 1 and phone 2. So we'll map all that data into phone 1 and phone 2. And then we'll click save. And so that's it. That's the scenario. So if we have a list of data, we input it in Airtable, we pull it from Airtable, we scrape it using Rapid API, and then we'll just update it. Now I want to show you how to build a sort of a SaaS tool, kind of make it a little more interesting to use this tool. And then maybe if you want to get users or you have a client use this, then they can upload their own CSV file. And so what I've done is I've created a second table. So this is CSV upload, and it's the same fields. We got name, website, email 1, 2, 3, Instagram, Facebook, phone 2. And then we'll use this. This is where we're going to store that data when we scrape it. So it's blank right now. And I'm going to go to interfaces and just create a quick interface. We'll just name it whatever. And we'll do blank. Click finish. And then I'm going to add in a grid here, and we're going to make this CSV upload. And let's make this actually a list. Okay, so right now there's nothing in here, but what we're going to do is we're going to add a button up here, and this button is going to take us to a form, which is going to allow us to upload that CSV file. So I'm going to use Fillout for this because Fillout's really easy to use. If you've ever used JotForm, it's a lot like that, but Fillout is just, I find, a lot easier to use. So you want to go to fillout.com and create a new form. And so I've already created a form called upload a CSV, and all we'll need to do is we'll just need to find the file upload form input, and then we'll put that in there. I don't need 2 of them, so I'll just delete that, but that's what this one is. Then I've renamed it. And what we're going to do is we're going to send this in a webhook to Make. So I've created another scenario in Make, and it looks like this. So we have the same elements. We're going to have the scraping the website's data and then updating in Airtable, or actually creating a record in Airtable. But first we're going to receive that data, that CSV file, and then we're going to download it and parse it. And so let me show you how that works. First, we need to create a webhook. So just go ahead and click add a module and search for webhooks, and then choose custom webhook and then click add. So I've already created one, and I like to name the webhooks the same as my scenario. So just click add and and name it. And then that webhook URL is going to appear here. So copy that and then go to integrate in fill out. And then you're going to want to choose a webhook connection. So choose that webhook connection and then input that URL right there. And then you're going to want to click advanced view and we're going to come down and we're going to add a key value pair. And what we're going to do is we're going to send that website list, that CSV file to make. And so I've already added that in here and then you'll find the option right here after you've already created that field. So if I run this once, I'm just going to run this module only, and I preview this, and we're just going to upload a file. And this is a CSV file with that same list of data with the name of the company and their website. I'm going to click submit. And back in Make, we receive that data. So now we have the website list, and here, this is the URL where that CSV is stored. So we need to get that CSV file now. And so what we're going to use is we're going to use the HTTP module, get a file option. And so that's what I have here. And then we're going to input we're going to go to website list and we're going to get a URL and we'll use one because this is an array as well. So the first item. And then what's going to happen is that's going to download that data. And let me just unlink this and run it all together, show you what that looks like. I'm going to restart it. I'm going to resubmit that data. And back in Make, now we not only got the data in the webhook, now we're going to get that file. So this is the result of that. But we need to break this up into individual pieces so that we can scrape each company and we know which name and website goes to which. So that's where the parse CSV module comes into play. So what we'll do is we'll get the parse CSV module, go ahead and search for that. And then you're going to want to input the CSV that we want to parse the data that we get back from the HTTP module. So you'll just choose that data option right here and then click save. And what that's going to do is that's going to break up this data right here that we got back into those individual company name and company website. So I'm going to run this all at once so you can see how it works. All right, and so once it's done running, we got that data right here in the webhook. We got the file from that file that we got from fill out that we uploaded. And then we use the CSV parser, and this is what we get back, individual bundles with each company name and company website. And then we map that into Rapid API, where we put the website from the parse CSV module right there. So we'll choose that and click save. And then we get that data back, and just like in the other scenario, but this time, instead of updating a record, we're going to create a record in Airtable. So we'll put the name that we mapped from the CSV file that we downloaded, and then the website. And then same thing with the email, and then the Instagram, Facebook, and then phones as well. And click save. And let me show you what that looks like in Airtable now. So here we have all that data in that table that we added. So let's just add a button right here to make it a little bit more functional. I'm going to go ahead and click publish on this form. And I'm going to copy that URL. And then I'm going to paste that in the destination of the button. And then we can change the appearance. And let's just make this. Then if we preview it, this is what it looks like. So now your SaaS tool, you can make it prettier. You can, have additional data points like how many did you pull, how many of emails, how many of phones, whatever you want to add to it to make it the interface more pretty, the dashboard. But what we've got here is we've got a list of data that we scraped. And then here we have a button where we're going to input that CSV file. So this is sort of a little SaaS tool. You can do whatever you want with it. But if you want to use this for yourself, or maybe you want to use it for a client or something like that, or maybe you want to go even further and actually build out an entire tool that then you can sell and get users for. So this is the tutorial on how to scrape websites in bulk. And you can do a lot more than I did, but this was just for tutorial purposes. But go ahead, and it's really easy to set up. I'll have the scenario blueprint in the description below. I'll also have the links to these to Rapid API and these other websites as well. And once again, my name's John from Neuralmont. If you have any questions about building your scrapers, let me know. You can send me an email at john@neuralmont.com.